It's time for the Las Vegas Sportsline. Brought to you by the Golden Nugget with sports director Tony Miller.
Money won is twice as sweet as money earned.
Presented by WagerTalk.com.
All right, here we go. It is the Friday edition of the Las Vegas Sportsline. I'm Dave Cokin. Teddy Covers is here. No Kelly Stewart today. She is flying right now, I think. I know she was complaining about a 2-hour wait on the phone with a particular airline, which we won't mention, but in any event, safe travels to Kelly. But we've got loaded stuff today because Tony Miller from the Golden Nugget will be with us. Chuck Esposito from Station Casinos will be with us. Ari Platinum is here. Teddy Covers, myself, Dave Cokin. I'm still... we're not going to talk much about Auburn and Baylor. I mean, Auburn and Purdue. It just... The athleticism difference here was apparent very quickly. Auburn was thoroughly motivated for this game. Mentioned this last week.
Yep.
That the very first practice for this bowl wasn't a practice at all. They sat and watched the game film of last year's UCF game. So Gus Malzahn had his team sold on a little redemption, and boy, did they ever get it.
Sure, that was pretty easy. And again, we all are superstitious in our own ways, Dave. I never write W's down, until the game's over in the spreadsheet. And this is I put the W down in Auburn at halftime.
Yeah, and that was late.
Over. Yeah.
Now, this was I don't even know if it's done yet, but
63-14.
Okay, 7-7 in the second half of them. Or was it 14-7?
No, it's 56. Yeah, they had 56 at halftime. Yeah.
So, and I think the second half line was pick 'em.
Correct.
So a push on the second half. If you thought you'd get a little money back with Purdue, it didn't happen. But at least you didn't lose anything. Still to come, Syracuse, West Virginia, and we're going to save Iowa State, Washington State for the marquee matchup later on. Teddy and myself both have an opinion on that game. I want to talk about Baylor Vandy for a moment.
Sure, entertaining.
Matt Rule's good. That team won one game last year. I mean, he's already gotten the program to respectability, and they're going to be back in the mix shortly for a major Big 12 honors.
Well, it sounds like everyone's getting back in the mix in the Big 12, So when you talk about a top-to-bottom league, the Big 12 hasn't been there of late. It's been Oklahoma and whoever's going to challenge Oklahoma that year. 1 year West Virginia, 1 year Okie State. Texas hasn't been at that level in recent seasons. But we're looking at the mid to bottom level Big 12 teams all making moves in the right direction. Iowa State's gotten better, Kansas making a big move with Les Miles. K-State making a big move in the FCS coaching ranks. There's a lot of activity in that conference.
Flip side of that game is Vandy, a lot of seniors. And they would not anticipate they're going to be bowling again next year. So it might be a while until Vanderbilt gets another crack at a postseason win. What else did I want to cover here? The Golden Knights, strong performance out of the Gators. Only 2-1 final against Colorado, but they played really well last night. That was a needed 60-minute effort from the Golden Knights as they wrap up a homestand, and hopefully that will spur them on to good things on the road.
Sure, and we certainly seen the last couple of road trips, the Knights play a lot better than they had earlier in the season. So there's hope in that regard, even though there wasn't much post-game activity last night, Dave. It's so cold out there right now.
Oh, I know. Oh, I feel bad for the guys doing the post-game show because it's outside. And I mean, bundle up. It was windy, cold.
Still is.
Did it snow?
Yeah, but briefly.
I missed it.
It flurried.
I missed it.
But
and I don't care that I missed it either, by the way. If I want to look at snow, there's mountains up there. The Mount Charleston, very pretty. I don't want to be there.
They show it on TV sometimes in some of these late-season football games.
All I know is you don't have to shovel heat out of the driveway, and that is a good thing. Let's go to our
That's a good
Friday.
line.
It is a good line. Friday, MJ Christensen, 4-4.
1, 2, bring it to the folks.
Put them fours up. Put the fours up, I said. Do it right now.
Tonight's action is just around the bend, and the guys want to get your night off to a great start.
4.
It's the Las Vegas Sports Lines, 4 at 4.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Unbelievable.
We are 15 minutes away from kickoff in the Syracuse, West Virginia game, so we'll cover that one right now. And basically everybody on the planet Earth has either bet Syracuse or is passing the game. No, I'm kidding. There's some West Virginia bettors out there. But it's Jack Allison, not Will Greer. And it's a bunch of other guys who are also not playing for West Virginia. Some questions about their motivation. West Virginia losing its last 2 games and playing in a bowl they probably didn't intend to be playing in. On the flip side, the finale for, to me, one of the grittiest college quarterbacks I think I've ever seen.
Dungy.
In Eric Dungy. And I don't think he's going out with a loss.
No, he's not. I'm certainly no rush to bet against him. All that being said, you could have gotten Syracuse at plus 7.5 at the Open. Okay.
Right. And now here's the question.
After Greer went out.
They made a 6-point adjustment.
Sure. And there's still money pouring in.
Well, okay, I'll take the stance that I thought they were short with a 6-point adjustment. I was surprised when the announcement came down, plus the fact that other guys weren't playing as well. I thought, boys, they've got to make Syracuse immediately just move them on air to the favorite here. Because now I know Jack Allison's a good prospect, but he hasn't played at all. And Greer, to me, is worth more than a touchdown. A top-level college quarterback is worth more to his team than a top-level NFL quarterback, in my opinion.
Oftentimes, yeah, because the nature of the backup.
Right, the backup is at least somebody who was pretty good.
Sure. In this instance, Allison, who we haven't seen on the field, that doesn't mean that he's bad.
Highly regarded.
That doesn't mean the guy's a 4-star prospect. Yep. It doesn't mean he can't play. And, oh, by the way, he's had plenty of time to prep up for this game. This isn't like, he's got to play Thursday night on the road somewhere after the quarterback got hurt last Saturday. This is, you got your 3 weeks, let's see what you can do. Syracuse defensively is not a great team.
No.
And even with the guys being out for West Virginia, that offense can still put points up. Total's been bet all the way down, too. 74 at the Open, 67, 66.5 out there right now.
Location of the game is interesting because this is an area that Dino Babers really likes to recruit. So he's going to want to win this. And for what it's worth, and I don't put a great deal of stock into this, but it's worth mentioning, Holgerson hasn't exactly been at his best in bowl games. In fact, West Virginia, I believe, has lost 5 in a row to the spread.
Sure. And at 3, and if you shop around, you can find a 2.5 out there, but there aren't many. But at the current number, even after the line move, I had to make a bet. I'm getting 10 points the worst of it. I don't want the other side.
Semi the worst of it.
Yeah, I don't want West Virginia. Yeah.
Would you have rather had Syracuse plus 7 with Greer playing, or Syracuse -2, -3 with no Greer playing?
I'll take a plus of 7.
I think I would too.
Yeah.
Because I thought Syracuse, they're going to give him a game.
Exactly.
I still didn't think West Virginia was particularly interested, and I would have rather had the 7.
I'm still stunned at all that. I understand that West Virginia was out their quarterback, but Syracuse isn't going to stop pushing the pace in this ball game.
Oh, no.
And Dungy's, we just saw what Auburn did, pushing the pace in a half.
I thought they might play a running clock in the second half of that game. South Carolina and Virginia will play tomorrow. We'll look at a couple of tomorrow's games in this 4 at 4. And this game is just not attracting much buzz. It's not attracting a lot of volume either. It's kind of just a game, which is kind of weird in that it's 2 Power 5 conference teams. You would expect this to be a little more of an interesting game for the bettors, but the market has been really quiet on this one.
And it's overshadowed. I mean, when you think, you have Florida, Michigan going at the same time, and then later in the day you have Notre Dame, Clemson, and Oklahoma, Alabama. In a bowl season where there have been some lulls in terms of quality play, this game scheduled in between all of them. And then, of course, is it just me or the Belk Bowl? I just always get shivers whenever I hear it because it's just bad beats.
Yeah.
There was back-to-back years.
I don't know if I think I won the Belk Bowl last year, which might have been the first time ever. I have not done well in that bowl game over the years, going back to that Cincinnati debacle from a few years ago.
Sure, I remember that.
Oh, boy, do I remember that.
Yeah.
Yes, I was on the wrong side of that one.
Yeah, me and you both. But when you grade out the personnel, South Carolina's got big edges over Virginia.
They do.
They really do.
And the SEC teams all have that one defining characteristic. Oh,
speed.
Yeah.
Yep. And that really worries me. That being said, Mendenhall's a coach, plus points. They're interested.
Yeah.
and they've got a senior QBs who making plays all year.
And South Carolina's got a quarterback who Bentley will make plays that at times are absolutely great, and then he will follow it up with one of the worst passes you'll ever see. Mm-hmm. And, if he is a typical Bentley, Virginia's probably going to have a chance to score a defensive touchdown in this game.
And that defense has been spot on all year. That's why Virginia's a bowl team this year. South Carolina's a better squad. I could only lay it, but I haven't got to the window, and I doubt that I will.
So here we have a game that this is one of those games where you might be handicapping motivation. Mm-hmm. If that's what you're using as your key, then you're probably taking Florida against Michigan. But if you don't think that's the case, if you don't think Michigan is going to be disinterested in the game, do you then pull the trigger on the Wolverines?
I have a hard time pulling the trigger on Michigan in this game. And I don't think that they're not interested, but I worry about that squad mentally, the way their season ended, their regular season ended, the mentality of the Wolverines team. And frankly, in a lot of ways, when you look at how highly ranked and how highly rated they were for extended stretches this season, some of that had to do with the fact that the Big Ten, there was a lot of mediocrity there. So
Plus,
I'm not.
Michigan is another team with guys who are not playing.
No, I mean Higdon. They're 13-0 when he gets 100 yards.
Pretty good. Florida. Do you want to lay points into an SEC team at this point? Now, it doesn't mean they're all going to win. We saw Vanderbilt lose last night to a team that some would regard as okay at best in Baylor. Florida's going to be well coached. Mullen's a terrific coach. The flip side of it is they also have a quarterback who is capable of making really bad plays at times. He's a guy who can skew a score all by himself because Franks will throw into traffic. He just has not solved that problem yet, and you wonder if that's going to bite the Gators at some point in this game.
Michigan certainly has the type of defense that is capable of taking advantage of quarterbacks who make poor decisions. That being said, Felipe Franks I thought he played significantly better down the stretch.
He's improving. And
when you look, really, his last interception came in October.
That's pretty good.
In the last 4 games without a pick. You look at his stats and put him up next to Shea Patterson's, and guess what? They're basically even.
Line has dropped in this game.
It's suspension.
Might go up maybe 5.
I would anticipate the money will continue to come on Florida, but we can find out from someone in the know.
We will. One more quick game to look at. We always like to check out the Lakers in our 4-at-4 when they're in action, and it's the battle, the two tenants at Staples tonight as the Clippers take on the Lakers. No LeBron for the Lakers, obviously, in back-to-back games for the Lakers as well as they played last night in Sacramento. So is this advantage Clippers?
Certainly from a situational standpoint it is. And, of course, over the last half-decade plus, not that the Clips didn't take these games seriously, but they've dominated this series to the tune of, I think, 21-3 the last 24 meetings.
Amazing.
They've owned the Lakers, and they will be facing a Lakers squad that lost on a buzzer beater last night and will be playing on the second night of back-to-backs without their best player.
Big New Year's weekend, as always, at the Golden Nugget downtown is a great place to be for New Year's. Of course, it's actually Monday night is New Year's Eve, but it's going to be a long weekend with lots of fun and entertainment down there. And Tony Miller at the Golden Nugget is actually the featured attraction for New Year's. What's going on, Tony? How are you?
How you doing, Dave?
Good. Are you geared up for a crazy weekend at the Race and Sportsbook at the Nugget?
Buddy, it's packed in here. It's already started. They're here. They're ready to party, and we're in full party mode already, man. So we're rolling.
In the first game, I'm anticipating that a lot of tickets got torn up because the public seemed to be liking Purdue in that game.
Yeah, man, they did. They loaded up on Purdue down here, and they're out of it really fast and really quick. And Auburn just cruised that one, man. Pretty boring game.
All right, well, let's quickly check out the game that's about to kick off. Is it all Syracuse?
Actually, I got good two-way. I got some West Virginia money coming in as we speak. We're sitting at 3, total 68 right now. So, but it's going good. Good two-way action on that game.
Let's talk about the Alamo Bowl tonight. Iowa State and Washington State. The Cougs were bettors' darlings all year long, but they don't seem to be bettors' darlings here in bowl season. What are you seeing for action for tonight's Alamo Bowl?
Hey, you know what, Teddy? I went to 3 on the game, so